Welcome to the Pro Cheerleading Podcast, hosted by Mhkeeba
and Brittany, two former NFL cheerleaders discussing hot topics in the pro cheerleading industry
and revealing the truth behind the poms.
Welcome to the Pro Cheerleading Podcast.
Yes. I've been so excited. Why can't I ever have a smooth
well, I just
intro?
Count in every episode. I'm like, welcome to 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like, I'm pretty sure people know what episode it is.
We're just so excited, I think, that we don't know how to handle it once we hit record. But welcome to the Pro Cheerleading Podcast.
This is our episode called
Swish Swish, bish.
Dang,
Another one. I know. I said bish.
Oh, okay.
That's different.
It is different.
But I've been pretty pumped for this episode.
Yeah, we've been kind of begging across social media for
an
a dancer besides NFL. No offense to the NFL girls, but...
Right, well, we wanted to have this show be about more than just NFL. We know that they're NBA dancers, they're NHL ice girls. We wanted it to be broad enough. Mm-hmm. And so we were just like, I've got to talk to somebody. We need an interview. And luckily, we found someone that was that wanted to talk to us, and so we have her interview coming up. We're so excited. We will just save all the deets for later when we drop the interview,
right? And
just be like, play that ish.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we got to start it off with Cheer Chat though, right? Because that's
do.
What we do, and there is a lot. This is so timely, right? Like
it's perfect timing.
Perfect timing. There is some juicy NBA stuff going on in the world today.
It's looking really similar to the last few years with the NFL cheerleaders.
Mm-hmm. The truth is coming out. It'll be really interesting. I'm sure that the dancers may have seen what was going on in the NFL space with girls coming forward. And it sounds like some of those attorneys that have represented these ladies have been contacted by women from the NBA. So we're gonna talk about that for Locker Talk. But Cheer Chat, let's just talk about this little trend that we are seeing in the NBA, which is just this
move towards a more family friendly
circus RS.
What does that mean?
Freak show.
Family friendly. So to them that means having a senior dance team.
Yeah, or kids.
Yeah.
Or just one big free for all circus tricks, dunking activities. I don't really know what the hell people are expecting to see as game day entertainment when you're just buying a hot dog, going to the bathroom, or looking at your phone.
Exactly.
It's kind of like, entertaining. Not to say that we're not entertaining enough, but it's just what are they?
Yes.
It's like
you showed me one article where they want the girls to start dunking. So they want their dancers,
the Milwaukee Bucks,
to start getting on the trampoline and doing dunk tricks. I mean, that is super cool, but what? If someone randomly told me to do that while I was cheering, I would be like, no.
That's not what I signed up for.
I'm not going to do that.
We're dancers.
Yeah.
What's wrong with dancers? I think there's almost this reaction that, dancers, it's not like some new phenomenon. I don't know why cheerleaders and dancers are under attack right now. There's backup dancers for every musical artist that you can think of. It's not like we're doing something that's so unheard of. So why, because we're on display, during a game, that it's just we must now attack what they're wearing, change this, change that, but that's kind of what we're seeing. So the Bucks, like you said, they hired a consultant. She has, 35 years of dance experience. I think she danced for the Knicks. And what's her name? Petra Pope.
Mm-hmm.
Petra Pope. And she apparently was, I think working with the Clippers and on the reality show that they had on E. But she was hired by the Bucks because they actually got sued because of unpaid wages, and I think they settled with some dancers, I think $250,000 that they ended up settling. 40 dancers they had to settle that lawsuit. But they were trying to clean house and look at how they're doing things, and so they hire this Pope chick, and she sounds so
super
scary.
Intense. She's there's always room to improve, and I agree, but it was her idea to have the girls dunking. That's exactly what I was talking about.
I think she was saying either the Knicks or the Brooklyn Nets did it or something, someone that she worked with previously, but I don't know how cool that is. We watched a couple videos of the Wizards. They have the Wisdom, and it's and I think not dumb as in it's dumb, but wisdom. And I think the Golden State Warriors also have a senior team, or they're doing auditions at least for a senior squad.
55 and older, y'all. So
yeah, that's where you'll find us.
Yeah.
In a couple of years. Oh my God, that's so scary. But, you know, they have these, and it kind of felt very like, I mean, if we're talking about like taking advantage or kind of, you know, exploiting people, like you're now kind of somewhat exploiting on the basis of age, and maybe people think it's cute and cheeky to see older people dance, but in their performance,
made me sad.
Yeah, in their performance, they're like, you could tell that they must be telling them to like ham it up and cheese it up and sass it up, and
die, and
it just seemed a little bit much. Like
a little bit.
A little bit. I'm with you though. Like I don't want to. I personally would rather see people dance than doing tricks and stunts and.
Well, think about it. All these teams, NFL, and now I'm reading in these articles that. The NBA has them too, but like they have a drum line that comes out. They have a mascot or two. They have, you know, people shooting t-shirts up with the t-shirt gun. Like it's just so much. It's like, are we really like that easily bored that it can't just be the classic, you know, half court shot and the dancers? Like, why does it have to be so much?
Especially when you got 41 goddamn games in a year. Like, what are we doing every night? Putting on a freaking circus. This
it
is
sounds
not
like a
Cirque
circus.
du Soleil. Like, how do you expect to put on that level of entertainment for 41 games during a season? I don't get it. And then it's kind of like, and then if I'm gonna be jumping and on a trampoline and doing some freaking acrobatic crap that I don't quite know how to do, you better pay me, god dang it. Like, what if I bust my ass? Like, I don't appreciate. I just don't. I'm concerned for the NBA dancers. I clearly, you know, that's not my dance experience, but it definitely seems like a trend that I would be concerned about. Like that's. I mean, you know, you're already being attacked for what you're wearing. Like a lot of these teams are overhauling their uniforms, saying that it's too sexy and that, you know, they want to place less emphasis on looks, which, okay, fine, but who are making these decisions, right? Like, well, the Pope chick was like, the first thing I'm going to change is their outfits. And
get more fashion forward. It's like,
you're dancing.
Yeah.
It's not that complicated.
Yeah.
You put on some cute sneaks. I mean, these outfits for the NBA dancers are so amazingly adorable. They don't even scream super sexy to me. Like, it's just, they're like action outfits. You got some, you know, crop top or some like, I mean, but they also have some super hip-hoppy looking outfits that are like what you would see in a music video. It's not.
Well, you showed me a video of the Spurs. They did their last, because they wanted family friendly, so now they have like a co-ed team and like, basically fired everybody.
They cut their whole entire program.
They did.
Like this year. And they didn't even see it coming. They just snip and just ended the entire... That article made me almost... I couldn't even imagine. You just get called in and... But yeah, you were saying the last performance. It was amazing,
but
right?
The only thing... They were wearing like a one piece, so the only thing that was showing were their arms and shoulders. It's like... How is that not family friendly?
Exactly.
It's talented women that are dancing.
And they're killing it. It's not... why do people hate dance so much all of a sudden? It's dancing. I could see if it was like, am I in a strip club or am I at a basketball game? Like, what am I watching? If it was so overly provocative and just raunchy and stuff. But no, nobody performs like that. Like,
it's true talent. It's like, you have a problem if you're going to over-sexualize anything that an attractive woman does.
Exactly.
Like,
that's what it's
your
boiling
problem.
down. That is exactly what it's boiling down to. And I get, you know, like in these articles we're seeing this statement that, you know, men are bringing their wives and children to the games and, you know, and I don't want my child to see a bunch of... You know what? You should be teaching your child, okay, how to sit down and... Yes, respect. Like, you know, did we even mention that? Like, one episode... Well, whatever. If we didn't, I'm saying it again. When we would go, because this is just an important point, when we would go into the community to do like these Play 60 events where the guys are learning some football tips and the girls are learning from us some dance routines, and at the end of the practice, you know, the little girls who we worked with would perform their routine. And there was an employee with the Seahawks organization. I thought he was just so amazing. I'll just leave his name anonymous, but he had such an impact on me in this moment because he basically, in introducing us performing with our little girls, he told the guys, like, you know, you guys play football and you probably play in a little league or something like that. And, you know, these girls are out there right beside you, rain or shine, you know, supporting you, you know, cheering for you, performing. He was like, you're going to get on one knee and you're going to watch them perform. And he was like, give them your attention and give them your respect. That's how he introduced us. And I was like, hell yeah, because it's like, you know, I just had never heard it articulated, number one, from a man. Like, you show appreciation for what we do. They're athletes just like you. They've been working hard while you guys have been working hard. Now you sit and watch and show them
I was
respect.
taken aback because I did one of those too, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, because I wasn't used to that kind of, like, respect. And, like, attention, and all those boys did.
Yeah, and the girls, you could just tell that they kind of like,
that's right.
You know, they kind of stuck their chest out a little bit more proudly and had their moment because, and that's just so important because we're not just like decorations on the side that mean nothing. And why did I feel like this was so important and on point? But in terms of what you're teaching your children, I think there's nothing wrong with having your kids appreciate a different art form. Is it something that they're going to do one day necessarily? No, but you can sit and watch a woman dance. Right. Okay? It's not a lap dance. It's not, you know, you're not at a strip club. And I'm not even knocking strippers. I'm just saying, like, you can handle it. Mm-hmm. It's a minute of your life that you're watching a dance routine and an arm show and a tit might shake.
And just acknowledge the fact that obviously they worked really hard and care about it enough to be there. Exactly. And they're a fan of the team just like
you are. So it's simple. It's that basic. I'm so over it. Like,
we're heated.
We are.
We read too many articles and watched too many videos before we sit.
Ready to fight.
This interview with Royesha is awesome.
Yes,
it was super cool.
She is a former dancer for the Portland Trailblazers, and should we just get right into it?
We'll see you at the end for Laka Talk.
Today we have a former NBA dancer with the Portland Trailblazers, Miss Royesha Gibson, joining us today. We are so excited. Welcome, Royesha.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Do you have a nickname just so that we can feel cool and use it?
I go by Roy mostly. Roy.
Okay.
Everyone calls me Roy, yeah.
Oh, cool. Well, we'll act like we're homies towards the very end once we warm up. But you danced for the Portland Trailblazers for 4 years, is that right?
Yeah, 4 years.
How did you get started? Like, what's your dance background?
Well, I started dancing when I was 13, so I started pretty late.
You're like Misty Copeland.
Yeah, everyone starts when they're like 13 or 3 to 5 years old, and I'm just like, hey.
I kind of have the same story. Like, I didn't really get serious about pursuing a dance career until like later high school. Yeah.
Yeah, Misty Copeland.
That's how I started.
Yeah.
I started with my my high school dance team. I auditioned my freshman year and I made the varsity team. And I'd never taken any like dance classes growing up or anything like that. Never.
You're kidding.
No.
Okay, I was expecting to hear this like a long list of. Wow, that's so awesome because so backstory, guys. One year while we were dancing with the Seahawks, we went down to Portland for a performance during halftime. Obviously, our late owner owned both the Seahawks and the Trailblazers, and I got to see Royesha. I'll warm up to it. Royesha perform on the court, and she just glowed and stood out. And so I've kind of been fangirling ever since. But I would have totally guessed that you had this extensive. Not that it's just that's usually what you hear.
Yeah, and like crazy. Like, wow, we suck. In comparison to the Trailblazers, like, I want to be them. Like, I'm already here right now. You guys were awesome.
You were so good.
Okay. No, yeah, I learned everything my freshman year of high school pretty much. Like, I would teach myself little stuff like around the house because I had so much energy. I would be running around the house and I'd be watching videos and I'd try to mimic a lot of stuff that I saw. And then when I made my high school team, we had summer technique classes, I think like 3 or 4 times a week. So that's pretty much where I learned everything.
Wow.
What a cool program at school. Because my high school, it was like a hip hop dance team, so it was like really casual, and I was the captain, so I barely know anything. I'm not teaching anybody except kick, step, step, kick, step, step. That was my go-to move, you know?
Oh my gosh. But it's just so cool that you were able to. So that's like what, 4 years of high school? Did you dance in college?
Yeah, so I did 4 years in high school, and then I went to Jacksonville University my freshman year of college, and I was a dance minor there. But then I transferred out to Washington State University my sophomore year, and then I auditioned for the dance team my junior year, and I danced for my junior and senior year there.
Whoa, you were a Crimson Girl.
Yeah.
Cool.
Stop it. Okay.
You know, like Lindsay James?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, crazy. We just interviewed her
Yesterday.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
That's awesome. So you guys danced together.
Yeah. Well, I think she left right before I came in. But
Okay.
I met her just because she came to visit a lot and for the alumni games and stuff. So we got to know each other from that.
Oh, so cool.
That's awesome.
So we felt like we got the skinny a little bit from Lindsay on like Crimson Girls and like what that was like, and just. So did you always know that you wanted to dance professionally, like taking it to the next level after college?
Yeah, I think because I just wasn't done dancing after college, and it was just so much fun. And when I graduated, I moved out to Kentucky because my job promoted me out there.
Okay.
And there's no professional dance team,
Nothing.
Nothing. It's just the university because I was in Louisville, and it's literally just the university. That's all they have. So
Right.
I was like, oh, okay. And like if I'd stayed, I'd planned on auditioning for the Cincinnati Bengals because that's the closest thing, and that's like an hour and a half away.
Oh, I was about to say, how long would that commute have been? Like we've had girls that have commuted pretty far to be on the team, but I can't imagine what that would have been like twice a week. 11 o'clock, 11:30 sometimes at night, and then you're driving an hour plus home. Like that's just and you got life going on, and you could be tired on the road. Just like that would have been crazy.
Yeah.
So you were interested in NFL at one point.
Yeah.
Okay.
I still am a little bit. But
Seattle's not that far away.
I know. I actually auditioned for the Dallas Cowboys like 2 or 3 years ago.
I remember that. Okay, so I totally am a fangirl then. Because you posted a little bit of your journey with doing that.
Yeah.
Because you made it to finals, right?
I made it to finals, yeah. I didn't make it into training camp just because my flexibility my kicks weren't as high. And so they told me to work on that and come back. But I just haven't gone back yet.
Well, I mean, that process seems beyond grueling that I just admire anybody that's able to just from the day you show up to a million people in line and just, I can't even imagine.
Intimidating. It was so intimidating. Like, I think I was just more intimidated being there than anything else. And like the audition process, like the routine and stuff isn't that difficult. It's just like you have to do it 4 times in a row and then do the kick line twice in a row. And you don't get a break. So it's you do the combination twice full out and then you switch lines. You get 2 8 counts to freestyle while you switch lines and you do the combination twice again, full out. And then you have
the combo is.
It's like 6 or 8 counts.
Whoa! So it's like
twice in a row.
Yeah, it's like a full mini dance. Twice in a row, 2 8 counts to freestyle and switch lines, and start right back twice in a row again. And then you have like 35 seconds to drop your palms and do the kick line twice in a row. No break. That's it. I almost threw up.
Oh my gosh. And you're just trying to bring that energy and that intensity in the way that you're dancing.
Do something besides breathing for those 2 8 counts.
Yeah.
Like I'd be over there like gagging, like, oh my goodness.
I mean, I literally like by the end of the kick line, I was like, just don't puke.
Yeah.
You probably couldn't eat or anything really to kind of like settle your nerves for the day.
Nerves too. I can imagine.
Okay, so I have to ask because, with kick lines, we used to have like a kick line portion for our finals routine. But with that one especially, people are going to screw up the kick line. So did you have people screw? Oh gosh. So when people screw up the kick line when you're connected, especially in an audition setting, I don't even know. It can go so wrong. Like it's hard to not let that momentum throw you off because they're right next to you, or you just feel the flop up somewhere down the line. But it's super awkward when it's right next to you. That didn't happen. Hopefully, did it?
No, not in my group. No, but there were a few groups like people messed up a little bit.
Oh my goodness!
So how did that compare?
Oh God, we're just like gonna fight over you. Dang it. No, so just too, the cameras are following you everywhere. Like, did you feel that pressure too?
Yeah, I honestly felt a little comfortable in front of the camera. I don't know why, but I felt a little comfortable in front of the camera, but it was nerve-wracking because they're like there, so you can't get away.
Yeah, they're catching every
But
little, and you don't know what's gonna like make the show either, right?
exactly. Yeah.
That's
So like
crazy. What were you gonna ask her?
I was just gonna ask, like, so was Trailblazers a breeze then?
um
The audition process for them?
no, ours is super hard too.
Really?
Okay, break it down.
Yeah,
What
tell us,
what goes
happened?
into that?
Yeah, so when I first auditioned my rookie season, the audition process was 2 days. So we had like the first 2 rounds the first day, and then we'd learn the routine for the third round, and we'd come back the next day and do the third and fourth round. And then obviously you'd have the interview process the following week. But after my rookie season, they switched it to just one day. So I think we learned like 3 audition routines in one day. And then we would have an audition practice for all the people that made it into finals, like on a Wednesday the following week, where you'd learn another routine.
Okay, so wait.
Yeah.
I already lost count because I suck at math.
4 rounds in one day?
Base?
Yeah. So
And
you
then
have
you
like, the
learn another thing?
prelims. Yeah, you have the prelims, you have the second round, and then you'd have the third round, if I'm remembering correctly. And then we'd learn a heels dance that following Wednesday.
Oh, a heels dance. Okay,
Yeah.
this is getting serious. So for NBA routines, like the length of them, just so that we're clear, because I think for us, sometimes the routines could be like a minute and 15 seconds longer for like, feature dances, longer for like the pregame routine. But
Yeah.
how long, like at least by minutes, because people are like, 8 counts, what? But what does that mean? But how long are these routines?
Ours are between like a minute and minute 25. Like a minute 25 is long for us.
Okay.
But usually it's like a minute to a minute 15.
But we're talking about like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and
Yeah.
fast paced, and oh my god, a heels routine on top of it.
Right. Like what kind of heels routine? Like what's popular right now on Instagram, or more like?
Oh no, it's like pretty simple, like boots.
Okay.
Heels
Okay.
routine, yeah.
Oh, got you.
And I was
Okay.
like, oh my gosh.
Oh.
I'm fully on those. I tried one class. I was like, what am I doing in here? Not like these costume boots.
Right. Have you taken any heels classes?
I've taken one heels class. I took Giannis Marshall's heels class. He came down to Portland. Yeah.
Oh,
That's
okay.
So was he yelling at you too?
No, he was so relaxed.
He didn't like
But
that.
he was kind of like intense relaxed. He was like, okay, no, we're not doing that. Okay, no. Like on everything. We're like, okay.
What song was his choreography to?
Oh, I can't
you
remember. No.
Okay.
So long ago.
We had like Erica Badu
Yeah,
back.
that was awesome.
Yeah,
Wow.
but super interesting. Yeah, they're super popular right now, and it almost seems to be like a feud of all the heels teachers because they're just like,
Yeah.
I invented this crap, and
Right.
like like I don't know, people not giving credit or to do.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on, but they're definitely the thing right now, which is kind of fun. So back to auditions, you're getting your butt kicked, learning 50 million routines, like,
Mhm.
and so you're having to retain that. There's something to be said for being able to take choreography home,
Yeah.
get it ingrained in your memory. Like,
That's what I need.
I totally need it. Soul learner too. I would never make it. But so you're actually having more time at least to perfect it and like nail it and then sell it. Like you have to package it up. And if you're
Yeah.
doing that all in one day, so is that learning curve, at least in terms of like learn a routine or multiple routines in one night of practice, is that kind of like the standard once you're on the team?
Yeah, we learn sometimes up to 3 routines of practice.
What?
Yeah.
How
How
long are these?
classes?
Well, we have 2 practices a week, and our
Okay.
practices on Thursdays are 7:30 to 11, and then on Sundays from 4 to 8. So it's like if we have a lot of like games coming up, or we have some time off, or we have camp coming up, we try to usually learn as quick as possible. So in the
Wow.
first I want to say in the first month or 2, it's like 2 to 3 routines of practice, and you just
And
gotta
then you,
remember it.
oh my gosh. And then you have like a bank of routines that you're pulling from for each game. But
Yeah.
do you continue learning like throughout the season too, where
Yeah.
you just keep on adding like whatever song? That's what I appreciate about
Yeah.
the NBA is like the songs are current. Like you
Yeah,
always
they're
kind of
awesome.
have like the latest stuff that I would think the crowd would get into, as opposed to just not keeping current with what's popular, you know?
Yeah, we dance to a lot of rock and stuff. I noticed you guys have too, but it seems most current fun you want to dance to.
Like I
songs.
recognize this on the radio. I know who sings it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so intense.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Not to say that we didn't work hard, obviously, but it's just a difference because you guys have so many more games. So like, I know that was one of the questions I was burning to ask, was just like, A, how many of there are you, and how do you keep up with an NBA schedule? Because there are so many goddamn games. I don't even know how many home games there are, but how do you do it?
We don't have social lives.
Pretty much.
Yeah, well, we have like a game off schedule, so you don't dance every single game for each person. So we'll have like 3 people off. Well, there's 17 of us total on the team.
Okay.
And then we'll have about 3 people off each game. And our coach just kind of sets the schedule randomly at the beginning of the season and passes it out. And then we're able to trade games. So if I'm off like on a Tuesday, and one of my friends like needs to dance, and we can switch games. Yeah.
So do you have to like, you know, pick up on formations and learn different choreography? You have to kind of do that on your own time. Otherwise the switch is valid.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And it's like you'll switch because we'll repeat routines so much. Like you'll switch a part in a routine and just be like, oh, it'll be a brand new dance. Like if you go from the right side to the left side, and it's like, let's say like me and Anna switched games and she danced on the left and I danced on the right. It's like, well, best of luck.
Wow. And you know, as many Instagram accounts that I follow of NBA dancers, like you never see any mistakes ever.
I was just gonna say that.
Never. Like
I would not do well in that situation because it's like, change it right now. I'm like, okay, I got it, and then I'm doing something else
off to the side.
Yeah, it's like, no, you said you were gonna switch it.
Muscle memory is something else. I mean, if you've been like going over something a million times and then you just switch it, it can definitely
so hard. And I think the longer you're on the team too, the easier it gets. Because by my 4th season, and if I had to like switch a part, I'm just like, oh, I'll get it.
Got it.
Like we don't spend time like going over it too much. Just kind of like, Roy, do you know what you're gonna do? I'm like, yep, I'll get it next time. See you later.
Oh my! So are your rehearsals? It's definitely probably not practice time because you're professionals and you kind of have to come knowing your stuff. But so how much extra time did you have to devote to make sure that you knew your 85 dances?
Yeah. I mean, we definitely have practice before practice. So like a lot of us would show up like an hour before and just like go over the routines before practice started. So that we knew what we're doing. Because you're right, it is hard to keep up. And we'd get a layout of practice before, like we'd have like our month schedule sent to us at the beginning of the month. So we'll know what dances we're doing at what games, what dances we need to know what practice. So we'll be able to
advance notice. Must be nice.
Was there any girls who made the team and then like it turned out they were slow learners? How did the team deal with that? Like, was it okay? Were you kind of like
snip?
Yeah,
she's
or like,
cut.
you're gonna be sitting out a lot more games this year. You know?
No, yeah, it's totally okay. There's a lot of girls that are slow learners on the team. And it's totally fine because you always have that extra practice or extra day to take the routine home and come back and know it. Yeah, and we record all of our dances. So we'll learn a dance and then we'll split off into partners and we'll perform it for each other and kind of give tips and tricks and some advice and critiques. And then we'd do that. Each partner would go and then we'd do it a second time and then we can record so we'll know the dance and we'll go home and practice it.
Got it.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, we sometimes would do, and there might be a lot of like, and we do this and you do that, but we would sometimes in practice too, after learning choreography, like split off and each a smaller squad would watch another squad perform and share feedback. So that's interesting that it's more like one-on-one, like, but you have 17 people, so maybe it's easier to kind of, but the practices, when you do practice, regardless of whether you've missed a game or not missed a game, not scheduled to dance that game, are all 17 expected to appear, or do you skip practices depending on who's performing?
Yeah, we're all still
together
practice, and if you're not dancing, you'll just kind of dance off in the corner instead of in form.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
That's so cool that it's
That
like
is cool.
so organized where you have like, but you have to be with that many games, I would
Yeah.
imagine, to like know what you're gonna do and dance. So okay, so now I'm like, ooh, at the games, how many times do you perform?
We perform twice. We'll do two routines, but we have an opening routine. So like when all the players are being introduced and
Hmm.
the beginning of the game starting, we have like a little player introduction routine, which is a super simple, like 4 count routine
Okay.
that we do on the court while they're introducing the players and getting everybody excited for the game. And then we'll go off from that, go back, change our clothes for our first routine, come out, watch the game for like the first quarter, and then we'll dance at the quarter break, and then go back, change, come back out, halftime, and then we'll dance again between the third and fourth quarter.
Okay.
That's so nice because we're, standing in the elements.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't even get it. It's like change really quick and get back in the rain.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I could never. I don't know how you guys did it. Like,
We don't.
have to.
yeah.
So you're not on the court though too much
No.
in
We
between time.
are-
Okay.
We're still out visible, like in the bowl, but we're not on the court. We're kind of off to the side.
Now I got a question. Did
Yes.
did the dancers get like pushed away? Because I remember I mean, I may be old, but watching NBA games and the cheerleaders would be like visible during the game,
Yeah,
and I just feel
I
like
remember
if
that
they moved
too.
to the like aisles or the tunnels, and then now I don't even know. It just seems like we've been pushed out, maybe.
Yeah. I know some teams, like I think Golden State, they spend the game in the locker room. So like they'll only come out when they dance.
Dancing.
What?
Yeah. So they'll
Wow.
like, watch the game from the locker room. And I know back in the day, the Blazer dancers, we used to sit like on the court, but that became a safety hazard. So
Oh,
Yeah,
true,
that's
true,
what
true,
I
true,
wanted
true.
out there.
they moved us back to like the tunnel area, but like we're still out on the court, just like not sitting right there so we can get run over.
Right.
True.
So we did learn that NBA dancers tend to prefer to be called dancers as opposed to cheerleaders. But when you're in the tunnels or you're out there in the bowl, as you called it, are you still kind of getting the crowd hyped
Yeah.
and doing cheerleader festivities for the
Yeah, we
most
still
part?
have like little sideline arms and stuff that we do, depending on what music's playing. And even when I go to games now and I'm not dancing, I still end up doing like all the little things that we do with our palms and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, we had our own little things that we do in the corner.
Okay.
Cool.
Sounds cheerleader-ish, but
Yeah.
we wanted to be mindful because we weren't really sure what the differences were between like NFL cheerleaders, NBA. I was like, are they NBA cheerleaders? Do they prefer dancers? But so cool. I mean, it sounds like some similarities for the most part. Now, is there like a co-ed team or other dance or cheerleading type teams that perform at games?
Yeah, so for Blazers, we have the stunt team, which is like more cheer because they do all the lifts and backflips and all that good stuff, and they're co-ed.
Okay.
And this year, we actually added the Rip City crew, which is an all-male dance crew, and they're a hip-hop crew, and they'll dance with the Blazer dancers. I think once a month.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, are they still in your timeouts? Not like that, but
No, yeah, they'll dance with us, which is pretty cool. I think the crowd really likes it. It's a nice, fun addition. And they also
dancing with you guys. It's just like an addition here and there.
Yeah, just an addition.
Okay.
Like once a month, they'll do one routine, a game together.
Cool, because the NFL added guys with the
Yeah.
cheerleading. There's like cheerleading, dancing dudes. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know if they had also incorporated guys in the Trailblazer dancer team.
Yeah.
They're
I think
separate.
it's something they might look into because we did have a couple guys audition this year.
Oh,
I
cool.
think
Oh, you
it might
did?
be something that could happen in the future.
How do you,
before
what do you,
Royesha.
yeah, what do you think about that? Because I guess it's just a wave, man. So if
Yeah.
there are male dancers showing up for NFL and NBA auditions, that's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
what do you think?
I think it's cool. Personally, though, I don't know. I feel like it's not going to be received well by some people. So
Mm,
I worry about that part.
right.
Most people are like, oh, like the dancers or cheerleaders are just so like obviously like we're pretty much sex symbols. It's like not
Right.
not like a secret. So everyone, I'm afraid of like how people would receive if it were guys too.
Mm-hmm. True.
Makes a lot of sense. I mean, we had our boys just want to have fun episode, but from what I can tell, it just seems like they're having the time of their lives.
Yeah,
But they're
they're having fun with it.
Yeah, but
like
there's got to be some.
And they're so pretty. Like the Rams cheerleaders, the guys.
Oh,
like, they're so pretty.
So
it's
pretty.
like gorgeous.
I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yes.
Like his skin is always glowing.
Oh,
He's perfectly
constantly
applied.
glowing.
Yeah,
I don't get it. Like, okay, you're prettier than I am, so.
exactly.
You guys do a calendar?
Huh?
You guys do a calendar?
Yeah, we did. We only did it for 2 years.
Right. I heard that you guys didn't have one in the past because like it wasn't received very well in Portland.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Ooh, break that down. What happened?
Yeah. So it's like a swimsuit calendar. Just isn't received very well in Portland. The market here is just so different, I feel like, from a lot of other places. So we did 2 fitness calendars, like my rookie and sophomore year, just to kind of still do a calendar but appease everybody else.
Yeah.
Like a fitness calendar. So we just like chose our favorite workout or form of activity and kind of did that for our shoots. And we added a video aspect with it too. So each I think like each month they would release a new video of a new girl that's like focused for that week or that game day, and you get to know them, figure out why they chose the activity they chose and how many years they've been on the team, stuff like that, just to make it.
So you just said freshman and sophomore year. Are you only allowed to do 4 years?
Did I say freshman and sophomore? Really?
Yeah. You did, but I was like, oh, maybe they're like, hey,
I was like,
4 years and done, and so you're like, yeah, I refer to them as you're
no,
like, oh my god.
I was like, they don't say what year one with year.
Yeah.
I love it.
I knew what you meant though. So I was like,
yeah. That's how I always think about it, and I refer to it like that sometimes because that's how like I just like get my mindset like, okay, yeah. Because if I didn't think about it, I could dance for maybe like 7 or 8 years on the team.
yeah.
So I think about it in like freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, just so I can be like, okay, like
I love
that's
it.
a good amount of time.
But some teams do have like, oh, you only can dance for us for 2 years and then you have to, move on.
Really?
So yeah, some NFL teams have that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. No, yeah, we can. For us, there's like no limit. You can dance.
Cool. Same.
As long as you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a girl that did it for 10 years, which was
Awesome. For 13. Shannon.
That's
did
right.
it.
That's
Yeah.
right. The director did it for 13, or the choreographer did it for 13 years. So that's really interesting to talk about, like the market in Portland, and just, with all our podcast has covered, obviously a lot of the issues within the NFL and just like the image of cheerleaders. And I know that the San Antonio Spurs, I think, just eliminated their dance team altogether because they wanted a more family-friendly
which I think is
form of
funny,
entertainment.
The Spurs, their dancers were probably the most family-friendly dancers.
Really?
Yeah, they did a lot of like theatrical stuff, which I thought was really cool.
Oh,
Like
awesome.
Like kind of like dances and stuff like that?
Yeah, they would do a full productions, like they would do a Christmas theme. I remember one of their dances, they honored Selena. And so like a lot of their dancers dressed up in like Selena outfits, and they would do like full-on productions, and it looked really, really good.
Wow.
Yeah, that is interesting. They got rid of it then.
That's disappointing because I guess that's when I was kind of like, okay, I get that there's this movement to like not have this overly sexualized image of cheerleaders and dancers out there. And, you hear this feedback of like, when I go to a game, I don't want to see, my son to see people twerking. And I just, like that's all the value that there is. And like, there's not so much skill associated with the dancing that you guys do. And that, that maybe you should just teach your son how to tolerate a twerk or two, because it doesn't mean that you get to, you know what I mean? That doesn't mean that a woman should just be modifying their behavior left and right. I mean, they're putting more clothes on, or not clothes, but just they're changing uniforms. They're changing the makeup of the dance teams. And I feel like it's getting a little crazy. How do you feel about it?
I feel like it's getting out of hand. Like people are just very sensitive, and I don't understand why.
Right?
Everyone's always getting so offended,
Yeah,
coffee
they're just
cups
so
to,
offended.
it never ends.
Yeah. I think they just need something to complain about. I'm like, it's not, we're just dancing, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And if you actually got to know us, it's not like we're these terrible people that are trying to corrupt the world. Like,
Right?
Right.
Or just
we're
even
actually really nice and smart people. We just like to dance in our free time.
There you go.
and I mean it always strikes me as odd is like it's no different than any musical performer out there that has backup dancers like
Exactly.
or just the artists themselves dance. So I'm like,
Yeah.
why are we any different than a Ariana Grande and her dance like her
Yeah.
music video? Like why is I mean, but they're just attacking everybody every which way. But it's just getting a it worries me, I guess, that the art form is just being attacked in this way and kind of watered down, or we're going to be wearing like turtlenecks up to here and like
I
weird
know.
outfits because it's showing some skin. Like,
Yeah.
what's wrong with being beautiful and sexy and proud of it
Exactly.
and that and seen? No, I'm just kidding. But
No.
well, I was
Did
curious.
your crowd actually react? Because I felt like a lot of times when we were at like the NFL games, it would be like, "We're done," and it would be like your dad clapping. You know, was the crowd really receptive to you guys, or was it still kind of like people didn't get it?
Yeah, the crowd is actually very receptive to
Oh,
us.
fine. No, I'm kidding. That's awesome.
I feel like it like my rookie season, you know, it wasn't as good as when I left. So I think we started to grow on them a little bit more.
Oh, catch
But
you.
yeah.
That's cool.
You know, it's good to be appreciated. Now the vibe in an NBA game seems to be just so hyped because, you know, it's a smaller, well, it's not smaller, it's a huge venue, but
You're indoors.
you're indoors.
Yeah.
There's this, all spotlights are on this court and it's dark and they're like lighting things up and you have an announcer, like it's so
fun.
hype. How does it feel performing in that environment? And can you see and spot and do what you need to do to know where to go on the court in the dark? I've always wanted to know that.
No, I love performing on the court. I think it's so fun. My favorite to perform would definitely be playoffs because that's when literally every single seat in the Moda Center is full and it's so loud in there and everyone's so excited. It's the best. I love performing on the court. As far as seeing where I'm going, no, I never saw.
Just keep smiling. Just keep smiling.
Like we have like these little lines on the court that we use to like guide our forms and everyone would be like, oh, like when the captains would be setting a routine before the game, like, okay, we're gonna move 3 squares this way and like 2 squares back, we're gonna leap 2 squares over. And I was when I first like joined the team, I was like, we're gonna do what? I never saw the lines. I am like, what line are you referring to? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, I'm just gonna try and stay behind my person and in line because I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh my gosh. Because it's so, I mean, that's when I watch you guys perform, that's the one thing I'm thinking is like, okay, how can they see? How do they, I mean,
Such
even
sharp lines.
yes.
Yeah.
And the transition
we
from
can't even look down either to see where we're going. So it's like you just gotta trust that you're walking 3 squares up and hope that's right.
oh my
you
gosh.
you can't look down. Like our coach would always yell at us, like me especially, because I did always look down the rookie season because I'm like, where are these lines? I don't see them. So she would always say like, you can't look down. But the more you're on the court, like by my 4th season, I just like I knew how much to walk to get 3 steps or to get 3 squares. So you start to feel it a little bit to the point where you don't stress out about it anymore and just kind of perform. But it definitely took some getting used to.
Yeah, the same. I mean, we had girls that's like, there's a yard line and like in between yard lines, like how can you not hit them? Because you get at the end of your, you know, years of being on the team, you know exactly where you need to be and how to get there. But at first it's like, oh my gosh.
Yes.
Like a map that I don't know how to navigate through.
So true.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Do you guys even get it?
Practice, I was like, what are you talking about?
So you said court practice. Do you have time before the game to actually like set things, or are the guys like already warming up where you don't really get to touch the court?
It's a little bit of both. So we on game days, if the game starts at 7, we'll start practice at 4. So we usually start practice 3 hours before game time. And we'll practice for about an hour. And if we get there early enough, like right at 4 and we start right away, usually like there are no players out on the court, just maybe like 1 or 2 warming up. But 30 minutes into our practice, usually it's like both sides, and it's like 5 or 6 guys and the team is practicing, and we can't be in their way. So if our form gets in the way of them practicing, then we can't go to our form. We have to like dance in the back and just visualize our form.
Okay.
And when we perform, just hope we're in the right spot.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Wow.
Yeah. We'd yell at each other sometimes. I'd be like, hey, back up a square.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like,
So
I don't know.
did you have, okay, I may be just like dominating and hogging. So just like elbow me. Do you, I mean, I'm assuming that you probably get this stupid question all the time of like, how much interaction do you have with players? But is that for the most part, the most that you'll actually interact with them is like pre-game where you're sharing space, I guess is what I'm getting.
That's pretty much like the only interaction, unless there is a promo where it's both players and dancers at the same time, which usually there's not a whole lot of those, just like
they don't have time.
Yeah. So that's pretty much our only interaction with them, when they're running us over on court practice.
Can we switch gears a little to like all this time commitment, right, that you outlined? Were you paid hourly for the time that you put in, or was it some other setup for NBA dancers?
Yeah, so we were paid hourly for games and practices and like anything we did outside of practice. But we also had a promo rate. So we would have 2 different rates based on, I guess, the work that we were doing. So we got compensated for everything that we did, which is really nice.
Awesome. Nice. So I'm assuming the promo rate was better than the...
Yep. I definitely signed up for those.
I heard that.
Cool.
So it was something where you're not like struggle busing just to kind of be able to keep the commitment. Did you guys have like other perks, like, you know, access to sponsors? Were you having to pay for your own like upkeep to like look as stunning as you are?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I woke up like this. Seriously.
You know, the nice thing, we did get a hair stipend each year. So we didn't have to pay to get our hair done. And we could use that money on anything hair related. So you could use it on getting your hair cut or dyed or buying shampoo, conditioner, any type of hair products. Yeah.
That's so nice.
Use it on gas?
I wish.
Oh, so it had to be hair care.
Yeah, it had to be. Yeah. Because we had to
Did you have like a makeup stipend too?
No, that I wish we did have. I spend more money, I think, on makeup.
Yeah, makeup adds up for sure.
Yeah, it's expensive now.
Yeah.
Did you have a lot of like, not necessarily like restrictions, but did you have like a look that you were required to maintain, or was it just kind of do your own thing or don't do anything drastic without letting director know?
Mostly, just kind of like don't do anything drastic without the director knowing. If we needed to like change our hair or anything like that, like get a haircut, dye our hair, we usually just have to run that by her first, because you want to, you know, keep the same image that you came into the organization with.
Mm-hmm.
And so anything drastic, just let her know. But for the most part, it was just kind of look your best, try your best. We didn't have any type of restrictions or strict makeup or body type code or anything like that. It was just look the best for you.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Did you guys even have like anything, even like a lipstick color or anything?
Oh, always red. Yeah.
Always
one
red.
thing. We always wore red lipstick. But you could like, I mean, the red that I wore wasn't going to be the same red that like Lindsay, the redhead, would wear, because it would be completely different. Like, completely different. So it was kind of just wear the best red for your
selection.
Was there ever like a check, like your red's too orange, your red's too blue? Like, would it be like that? Just wear red.
Yeah.
Unless you looked a hot mess in it, like she would.
Unless it actually looked pink, then you can't.
Yeah.
That is so cool though, and so important, because I think we tried to touch on that in one of our episodes of She's Got the Look, where we were talking about makeup, and sometimes having like one standard color for everybody doesn't always work. So yeah. Okay. All right. So you guys didn't even have like weight restrictions or anything like that either?
No weight restrictions. Just look the best you can for your body type, your height, your shape. Yeah, just don't be
Was there
out of
ever a
shape.
point where maybe the director had to be like, hey, you know, you're having too many voodoo donuts down there. Like, cut it out. You know, just kind of like it's like a check in.
No, there was never. What? Yeah, I think we were all pretty accountable.
Right.
So, yeah, there was never.
And you also, I feel like you lose weight when you're not stressing about weight. When it's just like how you want to naturally be, and you're crazy hours, so you're not going to gain weight. It's like impossible.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. And I mean, I eat like cookies before every game, so.
Oh my God, that was okay. Of course, Miss Piggy over here would really be impressed by this. But when we did go down there, it was before the game. But you guys had access to like the kitchen, like some dining area with like hella good food, and I was just like, they feed them like real food, not like a sandwich and stuff.
And like.
But you guys can actually have like a decent meal, and then you guys just seem so relaxed, and like you would be in your locker room, and I was just
like sitting and eating.
Yeah, I mean. That's great. Feed us and don't trip about weight and we'll dance. Okay. That is awesome. So, God, I'm just like so amazed. Like, dang.
Know, that's so cool. How freeing is that? What was the most rewarding part of being part of the Trailblazers? That was your first professional team, right?
Yeah. I think definitely the friends I made out of it. Because I spent literally every day with them. I think there was one point last week where we literally saw each other every single day because we either had game or practice, a game, or like some type of event together. So we saw each other 7 days straight in a row.
Oh my gosh.
But I think definitely just hanging out with my friends and getting to dance with each other and have fun. That was the best part for me. That's the part I miss the most. Right. Like just not being able to dance and goof around with them at least twice a week for sure.
Right. Yeah. Especially, I'm sure you probably have a lot of friends that are still on the team, and knowing how busy they are, it makes it harder to connect. Well, I mean, what made you want to retire?
I think like what I said before, I just kind of looked at it in like a freshman to senior type mentality, because otherwise I could have danced forever. But it's like at some point you have to, turn in the palms.
No.
Hang them up.
Yeah. I thought about it like I'm letting somebody else have their moment. Because if I'm still there, it's like, okay, you're like, that's at least one spot that's being taken away from someone that, has been trying for a couple of years or something. So I was like, I had my time. Now it's their time.
I'm like, I've never given them up like that. I'm like, no.
Oh my gosh. But that's just so important because, we talk about how coveted the spots are. Like for an NFL cheerleader, there's only so many teams that have, cheerleading programs, and there's like 30 some odd spots, but that's like half for you guys, like 17. Yeah. So to have that mentality and just being willing to kind of give somebody else a chance to live their dream is kind of very, very gracious.
I mean, I almost changed my mind.
But you can't go back.
I showed up to judge at auditions the first round, and I was like, by the time the day was over, I was like auditioning, and I was like, oh, no.
Oh my gosh, was it weird to be on the other side?
Like, it was so weird. It's just like, oh, and like seeing all my friends walk in that are re-auditioning. I'm like, I want to be over there.
That's so cool, though, to have that opportunity.
Yeah. Do returners have to come into the process at the very beginning, or do you kind of like get to bypass a couple rounds? I had to ask that.
They go straight to finals, but we do show up on the first audition day because the routines that they learn for the second and third round are also the routines that are performed in the final.
Got it.
Because you guys do like a showcase, right? And your family and friends can come watch finals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we show up that first day to learn those routines that we're going to have to know for finals.
Got you. Yeah. How do you like that aspect of it, like the whole showcase? Does it make it easier? We have like a live webcast where there's, the judges and then 2 cameramen and the rest of the girls who are in your group. And it's just quiet, no clapping, no hype you up, nothing.
I don't know. I think it was kind of fun having like a little showcase, but it was a little nerve-wracking my first year, I remember, because that's the first time I've ever done anything like that. And it was like being broadcast online, and I think the news crew was there as well. And I remember they asked the anchor to choose a number between 1 and 37. That's how many people were in finals. And I was number 37. And
Oh my
they were
God.
like, choose one number out of this crowd to bring up for an interview. And I was like, this lady's gonna choose 37. I know it. And she said 37, and I was like, no.
Well,
I
you're very
was
well
like hiding behind people.
Oh
As I
my
was
God.
so nervous. It was like my very first time auditioning, my first time doing like any type of showcase like that. So I was like,
Yeah, don't look at me, don't touch me.
but
Oh,
no, I think it was fun. It was fun for the families too to like come and see everybody like
Right.
perform and dance. My mom loved going to it.
nice.
So
Do you guys get game tickets as part of like your perks
Yeah,
where your family and friends can come watch, or is it like, nope, not included?
a little bit of both. So, the way that our ticket system works, we find out if we get tickets for the game usually about like an hour before game time.
Oh no.
Yeah.
What?
So like our friends and family are just normally on standby. We're like, you might be able to come, you might not. And it's just based on if they have any leftover tickets, if the players didn't want to use their tickets, things like that. So sometimes
Oh.
we would get a lot of tickets to games, and it also depends on what game it is. If it's not like a huge game, like for the Warriors games, we can pretty much always count on not getting tickets because
Mhm.
that's sold out.
Got
100%.
it. Okay.
But for like other games, I don't want to say like the Utah Jazz, but maybe the Jazz.
I mean, let's be real.
I've heard that.
We'd for sure know we'd at least get maybe like one ticket or two tickets. They'll be able to give to our family, and their tickets are sometimes in really nice areas. Like they'll be 100 level tickets sometimes, or 200 level, or sometimes there would be a suite that they didn't sell, so they'd give us the suite tickets, and our families would get
What?
to sit in the suite and watch the game.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah,
But it's never confirmed.
yeah,
You don't know what you're getting.
until about like 6 o'clock, and you're like, hey.
Oh
Was
my
your
God.
family local so that at least they were like, oh, we'll come over real quick?
Yeah, my family's in Vancouver, so they were usually
Oh,
able to
perfect.
make it. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, cool.
Hey,
That's
and if you
awesome.
want those perks, you'll just do whatever it
Yeah.
takes.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. Did you get to keep your uniforms? Like, how does it work? Like, do you get to keep anything, or is it just practice gear?
I wish we got to keep some of our uniforms, but we get like little like articles of clothing throughout the year, and different shoes, and sometimes we'll keep all of our game shoes and practice shoes, but we usually don't get to keep a whole lot of stuff. If there is like a jacket or something, I remember when they switched over from the old logo to the new logo.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can
We
keep
got
the
to keep
stuff.
some old stuff. We turned in all of our old uniforms, sadly, but we got to keep a few items like sweatpants or little shirts, things like that.
Cool.
I just always had this like vision that you guys were able to keep everything because
I
you
wish.
had so
Some of the
many
stuff is so
costumes.
cute. Yeah,
I know. You
we
guys
had
have the
so many
cutest
cute
outfits.
stuff. Yeah, I
Where
love
do you
it.
keep them all? Do you literally have to pack them all for every game, or you knew what outfit you were getting on that awesome monthly calendar thing you guys have?
So, we would get a what to wear each game. So we would pack about 5 or 6 outfits. Because we have the 2 routines, we wear different outfits, wear a different outfit for opening, and we usually pack about 2 or 3 extra outfits just in case. So
Yeah.
about like 5 or 6 outfits, and then shoes, sometimes up to 7 shoes, or like I think one game we had 10 pairs of shoes in our suitcase because we just didn't know
What you were going to be
what
thrown
we
at?
were gonna wear, anything
That's
like
crazy.
that. So yeah, that's about it.
Well, that sucks that you don't get to keep it. But now I feel like we're
Um,
at least we're because I was about to say that's really going to be unfair if they get to keep all their cute behind outfits and
I
we
know
and
there's
we
some
don't.
shoes that I really wish we got to keep. But
Yeah.
like we got Jordans last year, and I'm like, oh, can I keep these?
Oh,
But nope, had to turn them in.
Dang. Oh no.
come on, shoes are kind of like your feet.
Personal.
Your feet have been in them, and they have been
Yeah.
molded to the way your feet are. Like that should have been like
Yeah.
a you can have it.
Okay, kind of switching back though, but like auditions, I know that everybody comes to the stadium, right? And then they like announce that you've made the team,
Mhm.
and then you go, and then right after that, do you do orientation?
Yeah.
Okay.
So come to the stadium, everyone, they do the announcement, and you kind of, if you make the team, you kind of go downstairs and meet everybody else. And then once it's all announced, we usually like go outside and take pictures and do the whole get to know you thing. And then we'll go upstairs back to the offices and do our like first meeting.
Cool. So what was that like? Did you guys have any rule? I mean, you didn't get weighed. No.
Exactly.
So what did you guys talk about? Just like,
just show up, ladies.
Yeah.
Dance
It's mostly like, hey, what's up? Get to know you. We go over our contracts, go over.
So you did have a contract.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did have a contract. But I mean, it was just pretty simple. Like these are our practice times. These are our game times. This is what expected of you for each practice, for each game. Goes over the pay, goes over different types of promos, and the pays for those, and pretty much the uniform care. We go over uniforms,
right.
But yeah, it's mostly just a welcome to the NBA and get to know everybody, your new teammates.
So no crazy rules
Social
like
media. Ask about that.
Yeah, no crazy rules like you can't post and on your own personal social media that you are a Trailblazers dancer. You were just able to. This is like some groundbreaking stuff we're covering here.
So
I was because I'm like, NFL cheerleaders have been like slammed everywhere because of these crazy rule books and like just crazy things that would be in the contracts. And it sounds like yours was just probably what it should be, just a very straightforward contract of what the expectations are, but nothing trying to rule your life outside of it.
No, the only thing, speaking of social media, the only big rule for us was that we have to have private social media. So we could, we could post about being a Blazer dancer and everything like that, but we just had to be on private.
Okay. And that's like safety. Like I agree with that. There's you don't need everybody knowing what you're up to and where you're gonna be. Like that's totally a good safety rule. But wow, man. NBA is where to be. I'll be at auditions this year.
Seriously.
That is awesome.
I'm just like mind blown. Well, what are you up to now? Like, I mean, now that you've retired, you've got all this time on your, and you have a life again. And what are you interested in other than dance? Or like, are you still dancing? Like, can we be friends after this?
No, it's so weird not dancing. Like for the first couple months, I was like, so what do I do with my free time? Like, do people just go to work and go
home?
It was so weird because I've had 2 jobs basically my whole life, school and dance, or I would go in college, work and dance. And then I got out of college and it was work and dance. So it's like I always had something else. And to not have it, I was like, I feel lazy.
Right. Yeah. Not go all the time.
Yeah.
So true. Start a podcast.
I should. So I'm just working now, and then I'm training to be a fitness instructor. I'm doing indoor cycling, so it's like I have my second thing now. I was like, I have to do something else.
Yeah, you need a second thing.
Yeah. And I've been cycling. I've been taking cycling for like 3 years now. So I was like, okay, I might as well just teach it.
Yeah,
seriously.
So cool.
Do you often get people that come to you like for audition tips and advice, like where you could maybe like be a consultant on the side or maybe teach dance too, or you're kind of like, I'm gonna give dance a break?
Yeah, I did think about that because that would be something that's pretty, I think, helpful in Portland because we don't have that a lot. But another former Blazer dancer, Lisa, her and her sister, who also is a Blazer dancer, started a pro prep series. So now they're having like pro prep classes to help people prepare because there's not really anything pro style focused, and it's a completely different style than just your regular old hip hop or jazz. It sure is. It's like completely different, so you have to train for it.
No, and that's why we like struggle with like stuff to do after we retire because it's a dance fitness class is
not cutting it.
It doesn't not the same.
Yeah, it's not the same. So it's hard to find like that thing where you can still get I've seen like different groups that I follow online that I think it's like former Redskins cheerleaders that have like this, I think it's called throwback cheer or something like that. But they get together and teach a dance class, and it's all kind of like a NFL styled routine. And they, it looks like a little formation, and they all melt at the end and do like, so you almost feel like that would be so cool.
That would be cool.
But so I mean, right? Everybody would be twerking the whole time. No, I'm just kidding. But it would be fun to because I think you could get the camaraderie building up if you have the same people that show up, week to week. But so excited for you. You did such a, I just loved watching you perform, and to be able to talk to you and, be a little groupie is fun.
Nice. Sorry, I had to look at my ugly mug for an hour. It was a Monday.
Want to get her into locker talk?
Let's do some locker talk. I don't know if you were able to listen to our other episodes or any one in particular, but is there any a crazy funny story or just something you feel like you need to put out there, or
some inside scoop?
Yeah.
I loved our locker time. It was the best. We would circle up for dinner. We would always eat dinner in a circle and just talk to each other about this funny things in our life, our dating lives. One of my best friends on the team, we used to have story time where she would just tell us about her love life because we always found it so interesting. Every dinner circle, it's okay, so what's going on now? What happened here?
Was her name Mhkeeba? Because that was Mhkeeba for our team. And everybody would be oh my gosh, you did what? He took you where? How dare he?
It's we'd call it story time. It was dinner time, story time. And we just have so many inside jokes, and I don't know, that was the best time.
That's crazy though, because I didn't realize that the team was rather small.
Yeah.
17, that's half of usually an NFL team. So you get even more close, and was it kind of cliquey, or you think no?
I don't think so at all. There are definitely girls on the team that are obviously closer friends, best friends. Mm-hmm. But it was never cliquey. Everyone hung out with everyone at practice, everyone talked to everyone, and we all were with each other so much anyways. We always used to just do stuff with each other outside too.
Right.
What else? So we'd always after every game, I think a lot of us always went to Matador. It's a Mexican restaurant.
Yeah, we have one up here.
And we would always just go there after games, or sometimes after the team announcement, and we'd invite all the new girls, and we just go eat Mexican food and go home.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's so cool.
Okay, now I have another question.
Yeah.
I've seen you guys do some crazy cool stunts and stuff. Was there a kind of a learning curve where you're oh my gosh, how the heck did they just do that head flip over thing?
Yes.
Yeah, because your coach, she came and taught for us, and what she taught us was the most insane dance. It pushed me so far. I was Calypso, what is that? Isn't that a Greek god? What are you doing here? I'm trying to fly through the air, and her choreography is amazing, but pretty intense.
I know.
So
it's a lot of our choreography is super intense, and it gets harder and harder each year, I feel like. And the music gets faster and faster each year, I feel also.
It is on turbo speed.
Add more stuff and give you less time to do it, but good luck.
Oh my God.
Wow. That's cool.
That was definitely my impression of NBA dance style versus NFL. Is just you guys are always super sped up, and we could do a routine that we try to keep it upbeat, but for the most part, it's not a million things happening in this short window.
Yeah. It's crazy. And when you listen back to the songs on the radio and you realize how slow it actually is, you're I can't listen to this.
Yeah.
Well, why do you think they speed it up? What is why do they do that?
I think they do it to keep the energy up, because if it was a slower song, I feel the crowd wouldn't be as energized for when the game would be back on. They'd just kind of be lulled to sleep. I think it's an energy thing, because even at games, our fourth quarter routine is always faster than our first quarter routine. So, it's always faster and more upbeat.
Push to the end.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's the last quarter. We want to get the crowd hype. If we're winning, we want to get them even more hyped up. If we're not doing so great, they need some help.
Yeah.
So we always make that one a little faster and upbeat.
Oh, wow.
All right. Well, cool. I super appreciate it. Nice to meet you.
You too.
Bye.
Wow, she is so sweet.
Very, very, very sweet. Did it not sound like she had the most amazing time of her life?
Totally did. And she's so pretty, guys. We did like a Skype so we could see her, and like it was a rough Monday for us, and I looked like a hot mess, and she was gorgeous.
She was just glowed and was so sweet, and the grass definitely sounded hella greener, didn't it?
It really did.
I'm like, wow, if you want to cheer in the NBA, that seems like the place to be is Portland. I mean, great coach, it sounds like. I mean, it sounded so relaxed and...
Like, you're grown women, you know what you need to do to maintain your schedule and your weight. Like, that blew my mind. Her whole, like, nobody even had to get talked to. It was like, just be the best you can be for yourself.
I was shocked too, honestly. But in hearing how demanding, like, the schedule is with 43 or 41 home games and, just how could you not be in shape? I mean, we cheer 10 games, and they do 4 times that. And so... you would think that they wouldn't emphasize weight so much because of just how the rehearsals are long and their game schedules pretty...
You just naturally stay
in the best shape of your life. Yeah.
And that was cool too, how like they had a good rotation, that they knew ahead of time what games are going to be in. Like just a really solid structure that you knew what you needed to do. It was awesome. That sounds so cool. Yeah.
I mean, it sounded amazing, and very different from NFL. Some similarities, I would say, in terms of just definitely the dedication department. And it sounded like, it was a part-time job with part-time pay. But she seemed comfortable with what she was making, understanding that it wasn't going to be something that, you would earn a full-time salary for, but just well taken care of. But, I mean, honestly, are we surprised? Same ownership, right, as the Seattle Seahawks. Our owner, late owner, Paul Allen, and he owns the Trailblazers, and maybe there's just similarities in terms of the values and the culture of the organization that they work for, and the fact that the girls were treated with respect sounds very similar to what I would say, as our experience was cheering for the Seahawks.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that.
But guess what?
Yeah, but
no. I mean, it's really interesting because it was so positive. I think we were kind of like blown away by, just like, not that we were looking for scandal, but just, wow, this is what it's look on the NBA side of the fence. And then what happens on Monday? An article comes out.
On December 10th.
Yes, this past Monday. We will provide the link. Yahoo Lifestyle did this deep expose. This woman, Abby Haglidge, I'm assuming that's how you say her name. I'm sorry if it's not. But I guess over several months, she interviewed 30 different NBA dancers and did this whole long article outlining the working conditions. It just sounded like the NFL articles that we've been looking at all summer long.
Night and day from Royesha's
experience, right? Like these are, the article goes into several different ladies that have cheered in the NBA or danced in the NBA and what their experience was like when it came to weight. And just the wages, and the one lawsuit with the Milwaukee Bucks where the girls, it was a class action lawsuit that they ended up settling, but just kind of outlining the same types of issues that the NFL cheerleaders have been complaining about. And one of the attorneys that represented some of the NFL cheerleaders said that basically when the lawsuit started dropping, she started hearing from NBA dancers. So the NFL lawsuits, so and NBA dancers are finding their voice and speaking up. And
what was some of the things that stood out from that article for you?
I thought it was really interesting, just the, if you make the team, similar to how we just talked about on the Let's Get Physical episode, you make the team and your body is assessed that night sometimes to figure out, like, if they want you to lose more weight, etc. And there was one dancer who mentioned, when she made the team, she was given a bin of all the uniforms and, she could have been like a size 6. Yeah. And it's like, well, all these uniforms are like a size 2 or size 4, so good luck is what she was told. Like that was how, you're going to have to get your body to something because this is what you're working with. That's really weird because all of our uniforms are pretty much designed to fit your body. Custom made for you essentially. Or at least you'd be given a uniform with someone with a similar build. It's not like you now have to fit a size 0 when you're a size 4. Like, that's ridiculous. That definitely stood out as a little...
Because the Trailblazers, it sounds like, whatever height you are, it should be equal to your weight.
Yeah, it's
just
proportional.
proportional. Absolutely. So that was really cool.
And I think it's really interesting because when you have these articles, because we've read a crap ton of them, and we'll link them below, but even starting this podcast, we definitely wanted to cover the controversial topics, right, that are in our space. But, it's when these articles, sometimes they're not necessarily presenting a very well-balanced picture. It's just the stuff that will get clicks and people reading the article, which is all of the bad stuff. And then they have like a paragraph or so at the end of like, well, the girls enjoy doing it for the sorority and sisterhood and, and just kind of like completely wipes away that there's any other type of experience out there. But, at the same time, 30 interviews, and it's not like these are kind of one-offs at the same time. I wish everybody had the same experience as Royesha, obviously, but it's a very real issue and problem, but it doesn't always get fair representation in the way the articles are written, which sucks.
Yeah.
But were you surprised to see that, yes, in the NBA they have issues too? I thought they were like the perfect...
I thought so too.
The perfect league. That's why I was like, I want to talk to somebody in the NBA because they don't have they're not in the headlines, like how are they treated?
Right. Well, and then in that article, it was saying how when you are a dancer for the NBA, some teams have a rule where you can't go do any other side gigs that are dancing. So you can't add to your, portfolio of dance opportunities.
Which sucks. It's very limiting. I mean, if you're not going to pay them well enough where they can make a living as a professional dancer, like at least lift that restriction up. If they're a true professional and they're managing their commitment to cheering all those 43 games and need additional work to make their ends meet, like how, who are you to say that they can't? Like that's very restrictive. And I mean, not for nothing, but our hotline bling has been ringing. I mean, and we heard a similar...
Off the hook.
Yeah. I mean, we heard a similar comment from an NBA dancer that was just something that was really restrictive, is just that rule that they can't basically dance for any other organization. They can't do music videos. They can't do performances at award shows. They can't, maybe have a talent agency that books them for actual work. And if you're a professional dancer, which is a little different from professional cheerleaders, at least in the NFL, I didn't know people were doing all these side jobs, but I can see it in the NBA space where they're dancers, and there are opportunities where they should be able to juggle both, just as it's just how do you limit their income potential?
Right.
If you aren't going to pay them too.
Very controlling.
So people, let's just drop that hotline bling number, because honestly, we wanted it to just be a way for people to reach out and share their stories, and totally fine if they want to be anonymous. We respect everyone's privacy. We know when you're on a team, it's not easy to bring light to these things. And all of the women that were interviewed, at least with this article, were former dancers. Nobody's probably going to be that vocal if they're still on it. But if you want to chat with us, the number is 513-480-6714. You can text it. You can leave a voicemail. You can even chat. Brittany will answer the phone, right?
Yeah, I will. While I'm at work, I'll be like, hi, how can I help you? This is Pro Cheerleading Podcast Hotline.
But it was really interesting because it sounds like there are also issues in the NBA, and they need to be fixed. But what are they doing? They're getting rid of them. Instead of like fixing the issues, the teams are deciding, similar to the Buffalo Jills, like we're just not going to have one. The San Antonio Spurs just straight up cut their program, like we talked about earlier, and there are a couple teams that have been in the articles saying, like the Dallas Mavericks got in trouble because they had a whole scandal with their sexual misconduct in the office way back in May. There was like a Sports Illustrated article about how they just need to get their stuff together, and basically they're doing this whole internal investigation and they're trying to clean things up, and part of that is just their way that they treat their dancers apparently is part of what they really want to be like an example in the league as to how they should do it right. So hopefully more teams will take that approach instead of just like axing the whole team, like cut it out, like just hear the issues, address them, fix it, and then it's not about getting rid of us.
Right. So keep the
I'm like
tips
staring
coming.
at you.
I know, I'm like, I'm nervous. Keep all the anonymous tips coming. Maybe next time we can interview a hockey dancer girl.
Yes, for season 2.
Reach out, please.
Because this is actually, like, now that we think about it, we have one more episode, you guys, for season 1. And then we're taking a little siesta. But what's our final episode? It's called "We're Not Gonna Take It." Like who sings that? Some rock
Twisted
group.
Sister.
Okay, there we go. I like rock, but not where I
Not
know
much.
it. Not where I know who sings stuff. But we are actually going to be taking on all of these arguments. There are actually petitions out there, guys, to get rid of professional cheerleading altogether. And we are going to, sound a little feisty because these arguments are kind of ridiculous. And we are going to stand up for what we believe is, we might be like going extinct here.
I know.
Let these people have their way. But, there's some things that need to be fixed. We've touched on it all season long, but we're here. We're not going anywhere. And I just think we need to get our voices together. And mine is failing clearly. Don't clear my throat, but right, we need to bond together, share our stories. Knowledge is power, and utilize each other as resources to really build the argument that this is something that needs to be fixed all across the board. We're going to be fighting next episode. I'm ready.
Yeah, last battle of the season.
Swinging. Swing. Oh, that sounds bad. Not that kind of swinging. Anything else? I mean, this was a juicy topic. I just want to thank everybody for participating and communicating with us and helping shed light on the NBA world. Do you have any locker talk you want to get off your chest?
Yeah, didn't you say that there was an article about no eye contact with, the players?
Oh my gosh. Okay, yes. So The Guardian wrote this article, Dancers Live in a World of Fear, Why Cheerleaders Are Taking on the NFL and NBA. And, okay, so when they are at a game and they're walking around in the arena, basically some
not
teams...
really walking around, but are you saying when they're working and marking their stuff before the game?
Anytime that they come in contact with a player when they're in the arena, whether it's in the inner concourse, the behind the scenes, a CenturyLink or whatever, they could be walking down a hallway or on the field or on the court, whatever. They are expected to avoid making eye contact with the players, to get out of their way, and to, if you're in an elevator or something, you have to kind of get off the elevator, but you have to what time frame? Look at the grounds. What the flying F is that?
Sounds like my abusive ex-boyfriend from high school. I saw you looking at so-and-so in third period. It's chill out. You can't control where people look. You're kidding me.
Man, if I'm dancing in the NBA, that rule's getting broken. I am not, I'm less than, I'm not, what? What does that mean? That you, as a woman, because a player is around, you actually have to avoid eye contact?
Bizarre.
Are we that? I mean, it's almost like this concept, and we're going to get into it in our We're Not Going to Take It episode, but it's just this concept of what's really the issue? Are you saying that we're too beautiful and too sexy and gorgeous to tempt these poor men and their, coaches? So, you just need to be as invisible as possible and put on more clothes and avoid eye contact for what? People can't contain themselves? What the actual F is going on? It really... So I got
a little frustrating.
I could not
fiery.
imagine. Of course, you're not going to see that in the rules before you make the team, but you're not going to tell me how to conduct myself as a woman in terms of that I actually. Who does that? What year are we going
not
back
even
to?
That, but just as a human.
Yes.
Okay, you can't tell anybody where to look.
What?
Come on.
And that's not something that, if you just make the team, you're in orientation and you're hearing the rules. And it's so ladies, when you're walking around inside of the arena. If you see a player, avoid eye contact. Don't look at them. Get out of their way. I think I would literally, you gotta be effing kidding me. I don't know. Maybe I would just be breaking the rule. That's just how I would conduct myself. I'm a woman. I deserve respect, and I'm not doing that shit.
No.
I said it shit, but whatever.
More to come in our next episode.
Yes, I'm so fired up. But I really want people to have, a real sense of take a step back, man. Looking at the industry, even if I was still dancing with all of this stuff, do you think about that? If you were still on the team, how you would react to all of these articles and this buzz coming? Would you feel more empowered? Would you feel more scared? Would it change anything about how you view?
Articles came out when I was on the team. It was kind of ignore those articles.
Don't comment on them.
Yeah, don't comment on them. People are going to ask you. It was more how to handle fans asking about the issues that are coming to light. So,
were you basically... So is it shut up and kind of avoid talking about it, or just more how to...
Like we've talked before, I think it's inappropriate to ask anybody what you're paid. It doesn't matter what you're doing. So it was kind of just telling us how to respond to that, and
Got
kind
it.
of like, well, that's private and we're well taken care of. I'm very happy here, you know? So,
Well, I just hope that, this type of rule I think is ridiculous. And, I don't know if now that it's catching press that, they're going to do more articles on the ridiculous rules they have to follow. But I definitely was appalled by that one. And I think it's ridiculous, and girls should just break it. Like, break it. Like, that's ridiculous. You have my permission. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, hit us up, because we're actually going to be tweeting out some of these funky little comments and these articles for our last episode. If you want people to chime in, let us know your thoughts, because we're going to come back with our counter arguments. But I'm on Twitter starting shit, because now that this article came out, there are a lot of comments about it, man. Like, people are just like, well, why do they do it then? And just like, they're not that important. And like really advocating like they should not fix anything. They should just get rid of us altogether. So that's where I'm at. Pro Dance, or what am I called? Pro Cheer Podcast on Twitter. And I am going to be inserting myself in lots of arguments all week long on Twitter.
nice. Yay. We do have a Facebook, Pro Cheerleading Podcast. That's on Facebook. And I kind of handle the Instagram, so there's a lot of memes and GIFs and fun things like that. If you want the educated approach, go to Twitter. Mhkeeba manages that, but I'm Pro Cheerleading Podcast on Instagram.
Well, that's how a lot of people are reaching out, and we love hearing from you, so thank you guys so much. We're
just all the support, people saying I'm listening, I love it, tagging us in their stories, like, keep it up. It honestly helps us keep going.
Yes,
and,
yes.
And we look forward to it.
Hit us up with the review also on iTunes. That helps out a lot.
Yeah,
just sharing your feedback. It's amazing. We love hearing from you. It makes our day. We text each other and just kind of
we do.
It's awesome. Shout out to everybody who's listening. Thank you so much. If you have more to say about the NBA, we can definitely just tack that on to Cheer Chat or something for the next episode. But stay tuned.
All right. See you guys next week.
Next Wednesday. Final episode. Woohoo!